Patterns and expressions. First video for Algebra 2. Woohoo! First, talking about patterns. So we're looking to see what is the pattern of this first one above. And what would the next figure in the pattern look like? Well, if I look at these pictures, I would see that this has 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides, then 6 sides. So I'd assume that the next picture would have 7 sides and would look like a heptagon. I'm not going to try to draw a heptagon because I'm not good at it, but you could just say heptagon. Try to do the next one without me. Look at the figures from left to right and what would the next pattern look like? Well, by looking at the pictures, I can see that it's adding a box to each of my ends for each pattern. So my middle box would be a red box, so I'd color that in red. And then I would have, instead of 3 boxes, I would have 4. So I'd want to make 3 lines, and that would be on every side. When you have to draw pictures, I do not care if it looks pretty, because obviously you can see that mine do not look pretty. So those would be 2 patterns that you might have. Here's some vocab. So you have to know what these stand for, because I will be using them throughout the semester. A variable is just a symbol or a letter that is used for unknown numbers. If I have a numerical expression, that means they're just numbers and there's no variable in it. So I could actually solve this out. Expression always means there is no equal sign. Expression, no equal sign. Algebraic expression would be when there is an unknown in the expression. Again, no equal sign expression. Now here's a little different. I want to figure out what the pattern is, and then I also want to write out an expression for it. So my first term has 4 q-tips, my second one has 8, my third one has 12. So it looks like I'm going up by 4 each time because I'm adding a square. Now when I write that as an expression, my x would be the terms. What do I mean by that? This is my first, second, third. That's what the x represents. So I have to be able to say x times what would give me this first row. So 1 times 4 would give me 4. So now if I want to check this, I could put 3 into my equation, and I could do, is 3 times 4 equal to 12? Why, yes it is. So now if I look at my question, it's asking what's the 20th, how many toothpicks are in the 20th figure? So I would do 4 times 20, which would be equal to 80 toothpicks. And the next question is asking how many toothpicks would be in the nth figure. So really, we've already figured that out right up here. Except instead of writing n, or x, we write 4n. I want you to pause the video and attempt this next problem by yourself. The first thing that I would do is to figure out, okay, here's my first, second, and third terms, and the number of boxes are 4, 6, and 8. So what's the pattern here? So each one is going up 2. So now if I'm adding 2 each time, that's usually going to be multiplying by the unknown variable. So I would have my 2x. However, if I were to test this first row right here, if I put 1 into 2x, I would get 2 out. I don't get 4. So what do I have to do to this 2 to make sure that it's equal to 4? Well, I'm going to also have to add 2 to it. So I'm going to put that into my equation. And now with this new equation, I'm going to test my second term to see if I would get 6 out. So if I put 2 into my equation, do I get 6 out? Well, yes, I do. So this is my my expression that I'm going to be working with. So now the question asks, how many tiles are in the 25th figure? The 25th figure, that's where my x goes. So I'm going to have 2 times 25, so that's like 2 quarters. So that'd be 52 tiles. Word. Here's a word problem. Push pause to read it. So I would have to use this graph to help me solve this problem right here. It's telling me in this graph, first I have to be able to read my graph. On the bottom it's saying combined length of my fish. And on the side it's saying what's the capacity of your aquarium that you can buy, knowing these are the lengths. In here it's telling me I have different fish I want to buy. So I'm going to write up an equation for this. First it says 5 2 inches. So I'm going to have 5 times 2. And then it says 4 1 inches. So I'm going to add that because it says combined in my graph. So I have to combine them all together. And the third one says and a 3-inch loach. I don't know what kind of fish that is, but it's there. So now I'm going to solve this. 10 plus 4 plus 3. If I add those all together, I would get 17 inches. So what do I have to do to this to help me figure out, should I use a 15, 20, or 25? I have to use my graph. So if I look at my graph, it does not go up to 17 inches. However, you can use this graph to write an equation. So if I want to write my equation, I see that I have a slope, a rise over run of 1. It's going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So if my slope is 1 and my y-intercept is 2, so I'm going to have 1x plus 2. Again, you can always check this. So if I plug 2 into my equation, I would have 2 times 1 plus 2, which is equal to 4. And if I look at my graph, it should be at 4. So this equation checks out. So now I want to use my combined weight into my equation that I found. So I'm going to have 17 times 1 plus 2, which would be 19. So I'm looking for a 19-gallon aquarium. So the closest to that would be my 20-gallon. So I'd rather round up than round down. So my answer would be 20 gallons. Make sure you took good notes and labeled. Have a great, grand, wonderful day.